Hey ho, let's go. Hey, we're going to call this Happy World Series Friday, everybody. Hope you're well wherever you are. As usual, I am Sean Pugsley Martin. This is episode 38 of Pugsley's Pit. And as we always do this time of the show, we ask you the question, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? By way of introduction, I'm a freelance sports writer for the Albany Times Union, an avid sports enthusiast, big time homer, in case you haven't picked up on that, through 37 episodes for my sports teams without apologies. And as always, you can follow the show on Twitter at Pugsley's Pit and taking the podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify as part of the Gozilla Media family. And you can still follow me on Twitter. I was suspended twice the other day in two 12-hour suspensions, literally 5 minutes apart. I came off, I got my restrictions lifted, and right back on, but that was a political thing. Anyway, on today's show, we're going to welcome back our old friend from ball9.com. That's true.
Double secret probation.
Yeah, the folks at Team Herschel reported me, and then some jackrabbit in Oregon didn't like what I said to him. Literally 5 minutes after my restrictions came off, I sent a salty language. That's how I roll sometimes.
You're consistent.
And boom, restrictions back on. I don't know what that means. I can still go on there.
I know.
And the description they give you is just way too long for my ADHD to try and read and comprehend. I just go with it and hit send or tweet or whatever the button says. And if it works, great. If not, oh well. Hey, World Series. You're a closet Philly fan living in the burbs. It's not a bad idea for you to get your hat on today and then come out of the closet, declare yourself a Philly fan.
I did look at my Phillies hat today. I do own a Phillies hat. I do own a Phillies Roy Halladay jersey. I own both of those things because I've gone to.
Does that help you from getting beer or hot dogs thrown at you if you don't have it on it again?
Yeah, it would be better than my 2009 World Series experience. There's no question about that. That was my own doing. I knew better, and yet I wore a Yankee jersey anyway. But
did it anyway. All right.
I did it anyway. Yeah, the cities. I mean, the Phillies in the World Series is a surprise, to say the least. So the Phillies are in the World Series. The Eagles are flying. The Union play in the MLS Eastern Conference Finals on Sunday. So, the city's a buzz about the Sixers. The Flyers are a joke, but 4 out of 5 is not so bad. So I mean, it's a good time to live here.
Yeah,
it's a good
right.
time to live in the burbs. I wouldn't say it's a good time to live
in the burbs. Hey, here's a question for you, because I got going back to 2 shows ago. I posted a tweet and I got called out by the guy who did it because I tagged him, by Eric Sherman, for a tweet that he was complaining about baseball's playoff system. That the Dodgers 111 wins. Now, he and I have communicated. If he's going to come on the show, we're going to talk about it. And I told him, I said, if I misconstrued your tweet, I'll apologize.
You did.
I have no problem doing that. My 5th grade sense of humor sometimes gets me in trouble.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hence Twitter suspension. What do you think? I mean, look, the format is what it is. You got to play under the rules that they put forth. But if they hadn't changed the format this year, the Phillies wouldn't have made the playoffs.
No, they wouldn't have. So when they first announced it, I didn't like it. And I didn't like it when they first announced it because there was all this other crap in there, right? Pick your own opponent, like the highest seeded.
Yeah.
And so then they just went to straight seeding based on record. And I'm like, well, look, I mean, I don't like the fact that they're playing in November. I think that's ridiculous. But playoff baseball is the best baseball.
Yeah.
Because everything goes, right? You get back to you get back to what I always refer to as regular baseball. I mean, there's hit and runs, there's bunting, there's more strategy. And the games didn't take any longer. And it's good pitching, so the games are going to move a little faster anyway. And I thought I was pleasantly surprised. Look, the Dodgers, he was whining. Sorry, Eric, you were whining. I've been whining for a week that the Yankees lost.
Did you see his tweet?
The Indians fans have been whining since they got beat. Look, you don't like your team to lose in the playoffs. I mean, you won 111 games. You lost Bueller and Gonsolin, and that took care of the playoffs.
They've never been a great playoff team anyway. And
no, Kershaw's not great in the playoffs.
no, he's not. And I love Clayton Kershaw, but it is what it is. I mean, you hear the 0-1 Mariners bitching? No, they got beat.
They got beat. I mean, look, I think it was great. I mean, the Indians pushed the Yankees to the brink, and as much of that has to do with the Yankees' problems, but they did win the division, but we got to see a young, hungry team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you don't get the magic that the Phillies have captured if you've got the Mets, the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals, right? You just don't. I mean, one of those teams is expected to win. You got it with the Braves last year, but that magic for them started in mid-July.
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies were awful down the stretch. I mean, there was them and the Brewers couldn't figure out who didn't want to win the playoff spot.
Get right to it. Do the Phillies have a chance?
I believe they do, and I still think the Astros are going to win the World Series. They're a very complete baseball team.
It's nauseating.
It is nauseating. Though they did add Will Smith to the World Series roster, so that does increase the odds for the Phillies dramatically, because he's destined to give up a home run in the sixth with the game tied that puts it out of reach. The reason I think the Phillies have a chance is because Wheeler is pitching lights out, and Nola's pitching well, and Suarez is pitching well. So if you've got and with the break now, everybody's set up. So you've got Wheeler and Nola twice for sure. So I think the Astros are going to win in 6. If the Phillies won the World Series, I wouldn't be one bit shocked. I wouldn't be surprised at all. What their undoing is probably going to be the fact that they can't catch the ball.
Okay, that's a problem in the game of baseball.
The right side of the infield is really bad. It's really, really bad.
For me, I think Houston's got better starting pitching depth, but the Phillies more than I do. Suarez, I'm not that familiar with. I don't know who the fourth side, that kid and Syndergaard. Do you go with him in a game 5, or do you come back with your horses?
Well, look, Falter is not very good. You're not going to pitch Kyle Gibson if you have any inclination of winning, and I would pitch Syndergaard. And I would treat it like a bullpen game, but I would pitch Syndergaard, and if I could get 4 out of Syndergaard, I'd take it.
Okay, he's been there.
He has been there, and he's not the same guy that he was when he was on the Mets for sure before he got injured, but he knows how to pitch.
Yeah,
and he knows how to pitch to that team. I mean, I think that my sleeper, there's always a player in the World Series on both teams, right? There's always that guy, the Brian Doyle guy that comes out of nowhere and has a great World Series. And I would not be surprised if Brandon Marsh had a huge World Series for the Phillies.
Okay. To me, if for the Phillies to have a shot, Bryce Harper is going to be a Hall of Fame player, but he's got to be it. Him and Schwarber.
Yeah.
They got to produce. I mean, does Philly have any other sources there? Real Muto's a good player. You got some guys there.
Hoskins is on a tear.
Yes,
Hoskins
he is.
is having a really good postseason, and Bobby Thompson, who they were both struggling coming out of the first round out of St. Louis. They were really struggling, and Thompson said Hoskins is like really, really close to breaking out. And his first at bat, the next game, he homered.
Yep.
And then Schwarber figured it out again. I mean, Schwarber hit that shot in San Diego that they're still looking for. I mean, that was unbelievable. And so, they didn't, and Real Muto can hit, and Segura's had a good offensive.
Yeah.
He's had a good offensive postseason so far. So, I mean, they do, Bohm, Stotts, their lineup is really good. Their lineup is really good. I mean, Stotts a pain in the rear end. He doesn't strike out, so he does make contact. I mean, Bohm's had a really good second half. From a guy that they didn't even think was going to make the roster in the spring, they were talking about sending him down again in the spring. And he's had a really good second half. So you know, their lineup is tough. They do strike out a ton, which is, you know, Verlander's got to be licking his chops.
Yep.
And Houston's advantage is they've been there. So game one is going to be, you know, if Nola doesn't give them 7, you know, Aaron Nola sharp innings, not Aaron Nola gives you 6 great innings, and then the 7th inning they score 11, which has been a very disturbing pattern. You know, that if they can come back to Philly with a split, then it's a 5-game series, and this crowd it's the loudest venue I've ever been to for a sporting event. When it was really the loudest. I mean,
that's an open kind of concept there.
It is an open concept, but I was there when Victorino hit the grand slam off Sabathia in 2009, and the place wasn't shaking; it was vibrating.
Okay.
Like you couldn't have a conversation with the person next to you without screaming at the top of your lungs. It's the loudest event I've ever been to. And when they're fired up, and they are fired up, and a little bit of liquid courage and a winning team makes the crowd here crazy. And when they're behind it, the crowds, there is a home field advantage here. Now, you know, Yordan Alvarez and Bregman could homer every at bat in that stadium.
I wouldn't even pitch to Alvarez. I wouldn't throw him. I'd just walk him. I wouldn't throw him. I'd keep it low and away and just maybe he'll chase something. I wouldn't even bother.
Maybe, yeah. Well, their lineup is also really
it is. Tough. And look, I got to ask you a question about Philly because I'm delaying having anything positive said about the Astros because I just find that entire topic and the organization and their fan base absolutely nauseating. So let me ask you this question. What is the most popular team in Philadelphia? What sport? Is it got to be the Eagles, right?
It's the Eagles by far.
Okay.
It's not even close. It's not even close. Everybody else is a pop-up. I mean, the Sixers are the second most popular team.
No kidding.
Yep. The Sixers are the second most popular team. But when the Eagles are bad, they're still the most popular team, regardless of whether anybody else is good.
I issued, by the way, 2 weeks ago an apology to Jalen Hurts. I thought he would bust out coming out of college. I didn't think a lot of Raider fans wanted him in the draft. I'm like, no. He's not an NFL guy. He's a college quarterback. I was wrong.
This guy's a good football player.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, he's a better person.
Is he? Good for him.
Yeah. He's really fit in, and he's made a big difference in the community. That's already. Good. Yeah, he's a good. Apparently from all, you know, everybody's a good person until they get caught doing something they shouldn't be. But
yeah,
he's from all accounts, he's a really good guy.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Astros now, and I'll toss my lunch up afterwards if I have to say anything.
Yeah,
they're good. Look, they're cheaters. They got busted. It wasn't just a one-year thing. Altuve was hiding a buzzer coming around the bases after hitting that homer off of Chapman. And it is what it is. But they are a good baseball team. And the reason I like them is the depth in the starting rotation. I like Valdez at 3, even McCullers at 4. And Ryan Presley has killed my fantasy teams enough in the last few years. I think he sucks, but his stats are still pretty good. And their bullpen is better than the Phillies. Where's the flaw with the Astros? I don't see one.
It was in the middle of the year. It was their bullpen, and it wasn't Presley. It was getting to Presley, but Montero and Neris all of a sudden learned how to pitch. Like Neris was terrible here, and Montero was terrible in Seattle. Terrible.
Yeah,
they couldn't get rid of him fast enough. So all of a sudden they've learned how to pitch. And Altuve's having a terrible postseason.
I wonder why.
And they still haven't lost. And they still haven't lost a game.
I know it's
having a because Jeremy Pena showed everybody why they didn't spend all the money on Correa. He's every bit as good. I mean, he's done everything that Correa would have done for them. So. Yeah, I think the difference with them, honestly, I think the difference with them, they were healthy most of the year, which helps. But I think the difference with them is Dusty Baker. I think that's the difference.
You know what? Look, they're hated. They're hated, right? But having Dusty Baker win one kind of makes it a little better, right?
Sure does. It absolutely does. It does.
Not for me.
But I think what I like about Dusty Baker, and what I like about what is with both of these teams, frankly, when Thompson took over for Girardi, like he put a lineup together, and that was the lineup. Like that was the lineup. And maybe I platoon, maybe he platoons in center, and he gives guys a day off, and he platoons behind the plate. And then he can rotate guys into DH to give them a break too. But the lineup is the lineup. Altuve leads off. Pena hits second. It's like that's and it doesn't change. And the same thing happened here. And I mean, that's one of the things I complained about with the Yankees every day is that you should I'm not used to waiting for the lineup to come out to see what the lineup is. You know what I mean? Like I have a pretty good idea what the lineup is. And then, this guy's not playing. With them, it's a different lineup every day, and that's just too much analytics.
Yeah. Hey,
and
look,
I think Dusty rejects it a little bit.
But I'm going to help Altuve wake up. You ready? Here's my 518 bookkeeping ruler. Curveball. Fastball. There you go. From me to you, Jose.
So there was a poll, and I don't know if you saw it yesterday. An Astro fan put a poll up. Which of the 4 offenses is the worst, right? And it was right, and the easy one is to say sign stealing. And the only reason, and for me, the only reason it was easy to say sign stealing is because that's an organizational thought process. Like not every pitcher used spider tack. Not every player used steroids. I mean, not every player corks their bat. Those are individual players trying to get an edge, really to make more money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But when it's an organizational decision to deceive, and I'm also not naive. They weren't the only ones doing it.
Probably not.
They just got caught.
They got caught. That's with anything.
But AJ Hinch isn't such a good manager without the signs coming in, is he? Detroit was not great this year.
I saw the poll. I voted on it. I'll give the guy credit for saying, hey, look, I'm not trying to start any fights here. I'm just curious what you all think.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know I don't know what's worse, but I rely on people that I listen to, former players, that say sign stealing is the worst because if you know what pitch is coming, you got it. You can gauge the speed. That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you know if it's going to be a slider, you're not swinging at it.
Kind of like hitting off Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah.
Like what's coming. You don't even need the sign. You know what's coming.
I could throw a wiffle ball faster than Dallas Keuchel.
Something hittable.
You talk about a guy that's been cashing checks, armed robbery. Hey, Yankees, while you're here, my condolences.
I said it in April. They weren't built to win in the playoffs.
I said it for 20 years, and that's one of the things on my you did tweet it. Is it how I've been banging on the Yankees all year. I'm like, they're great, but they get to October, they're not so great. I mean, and now you're hearing Boone and Cashman are coming back. I mean, how tough is that to square? Because Aaron Boone, he got exposed big time.
Well, Boone is coming back because Hal said he's coming back because he's under contract. And I would say as close to 100% as I could ever be about anything that Cashman will come back.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating it's frustrating, but I was mad about it 4 years ago. I'm not mad about it anymore. I'm not mad about it. It'd be easy to be mad about it. Like if they come back, they come back. I mean, it's like if the players aren't held accountable, and everything I needed to know about Aaron Boone, I learned when Josh Donaldson thought he homered and then jogged and then got caught off first base and was allowed to go into the field the next day.
Yeah.
I learned everything I needed to know about Aaron Boone. He's never going to hold him accountable.
No.
He's never going to hold him accountable. And if they're not being held accountable by the manager, and I'm not like talking about Billy Martin stuff, right? Where you call him out in the press or you fight him in a hotel. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being held to a level of performance by the manager that's expected and him not being afraid to say it. And it's almost like he's too concerned with those guys liking him
Yeah.
than he is about managing them.
Well, I go back to that playoff when he lifted Cole with the bases loaded in the 5th inning and brought in Lou Trevino. And let me tell you something, Lou Trevino, he sucks.
He pitched well for the Yankees, though.
Oh no! Okay, yeah.
That's a bad spot to put.
I wouldn't
That's a
know because I
bad
turned the
spot.
channel off.
Look, you paid over. You paid $330-something million for Cole. He's supposed to be your ace. Let him figure it out. I mean, if
You're
he
gonna
gets
live or die
shellacked,
with
it's
Garrett
on
Cole.
him. He already put himself in that position. Let him get out of it. It's only the 5th inning. It's not the 9th.
That's what you brought him in for. He had 98 pitches in.
Let him pitch.
Lou Trevino, he might have been good for you guys. I refuse to watch him, man. I've seen that movie way too many times,
He wanted to
and I
leave.
just couldn't do it.
He wanted to
Couldn't do
leave. Do you blame him? He got sick of standing in the clubhouse in 6 inches of raw feces.
Hey, that's
He couldn't take it anymore.
Careful.
He couldn't take it anymore. And he was sick and tired of going to games, and the only people who were there were his wife.
Yeah, I love that place. That's it. It's a shithole, but it's my shithole.
It is that.
Aaron Judge coming back?
Who knows?
I don't think he's gonna.
I think
He's gonna get paid no matter where he goes. It's not money.
he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make a lot of money. He won the ultimate bet, right?
Yep.
And he put all his chips in the middle of the table, and
Like Jim Foster.
he kept adding to the pile, and everybody else ran out of chips, and the Yankees completely ran out of chips. So I think, I think the money is the money. I think the years are going to have an influence on where he goes. I mean, San Francisco will be active in it. There's rumors that the Dodgers are talking about him and moving Mookie to second base, which, I mean, Mookie can play it. He can play anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs got involved because they've got a ton of money and they need a star power player on that team. And their young players are good. But at the end of the day, and you can never count the Mets out of doing anything. But at the end of the day, I just don't see him leaving. I don't see him leaving. I think being a Yankee means more to him than than all the money that he's going to get.
Here's a question for the Yankee fan.
And that might just be me saying that could very well be 100% like denial that he's going to leave. It very possibly could be, but I just don't see him. I mean, he's the closest thing to Jeter since Jeter.
Yep.
In the whole package, the entirety of the package, the way he treats the media, the way he only cares about winning, the way he deflects and takes the hits for the other guys, the way he carries himself in New York. I mean, the way his family is. I mean, it's a repeat without the rings, of course, which is not to be understated.
We've talked about this before. I'm going to bring it up again. They just don't look, as a group, they don't look like they're having a good time. I don't know if it's the pressure of New York, the rules, the corporate image that they have, no facial hair, no long hair, all that stuff. They feel like they're stifled. You can't, it's like you get to New York and you're not allowed to have a personality. I think they ruined Jason Giambi.
They did ruin Jason Giambi.
They took away his personality. That's kind of who he was.
They did. They ruined Josh Donaldson.
So does that play into? They just, as
I think
watching them over the years, they just don't look like they're enjoying the game.
I think there's a lot of weight carrying that uniform. I mean, I think there's a lot of weight, especially when you haven't won since 2009, and you haven't had a losing season since 2009. I mean, they've averaged 99 wins under Boone, and they haven't won a World Series. I mean, that's a lot. That does put a lot of pressure on the players on that team.
Yep.
I mean, it absolutely does. And I don't think social media is helping them. I mean, it's the, Yankee Twitter is the best and worst place on earth.
That's everywhere. It's not everywhere, but
every fan base is the best and worst place on earth on social. Everything's an overreaction immediately, and everybody's an expert general manager. Everybody, or a coach, or a manager, or an owner. Everybody's an expert, right?
Hey, the Raiders won a game by 18 points on Friday. Or last Sunday. They needed 21 fourth quarter points to do it. And I wake up Monday and everyone's bitching. So-and-so sucks. He missed a tackle. Well, Jesus, life isn't perfect, folks. It's sports. It's the NFL. The other team's going to make plays, no matter how bad they are. They're still going to make plays. You won a game. We're 2-4. You won a game by 18 points. Enjoy it.
Sean, the Jets are 5-2, and people are still complaining. Like, are you kidding me?
What's the matter with you people?
5-2 after 7 games. I thought we were going to be 3-4 at best, and we're 5-2, and people are complaining. Like,
enjoy the ride, for crying out loud. But I don't even have to. I can't watch Yankee games because I hate the announcers. Okay, if I watch, it's gonna be on mute. But I don't have to watch Yankee games because I follow you and a bunch of your minions on Yankee Twitter, and I'm telling you, it is entertainment. It's free. I hope it stays free, but it's free entertainment for me. I love it.
Well, watching Yankee games is hard because we were spoiled.
Yeah,
I mean, we were spoiled. I mean, there's no question about it. We were spoiled with Messer, White, and Rizzuto, and then Mercer. We were spoiled. I mean, that was a great announcing crew. It was a great 3-man booth, and there wasn't all the other chatter. You know what I mean? There wasn't all the other, like, they weren't getting criticized on social media too. Like, in game, I can't believe that Paul O'Neill just said that. Like, what? Just like, I mean, most of the time while the game is going on, I'd stay off Twitter.
Yep.
Just simply because, like, I may chime in if somebody homers, or I may chime in if there's a big base hit, or I may chime in if there's a terrible error. But it honestly, it takes away from the enjoyment of watching a game, and it's hard enough to watch. It's hard enough to sit and watch a baseball game in its entirety anymore. Anyway, I don't need the pain. I don't need the pain of, he's only throwing 98 pitches. Why are you taking him out? Why he's at 104. How much longer are we going to let him go? I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's up for the manager. Hey, was that a wolf that just sidled up next to you?
That was Cassius Clay, who's he's in a funk. He's in a funk. He's sick of listening to people whine about the Yankees, and he's already had it. So
get him a Phillies cap. He can root for a winner.
I'll get him a Phillies cap. I am going to get him a Phillies cap. I'm going to get him a Phillies beanie.
He can show his face around doggy daycare a little bit with the Phillies hat, more so
than it to his head. I'm going to put him in a sheep's costume, and he'll be the wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what he's going to be.
There you go. All right, look, I'm going to join you in saying Astros in 6. I hope the Phillies win. I think it'd be awesome to watch, and especially if they could somehow win it in 5, win it at home. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, this place. I mean, it was chaos when they won the NLCS. It was chaos here.
Hey, if there's any looting, get me. I need a 55-inch TV for my living room.
You got it.
Hook me up. I'll drive down and pick it up.
You got it. The looters already have the welding torches to get through the bars that they pulled down over the shop front. So they'll. I think they'll be smarter. If they were to win, I would think that the shopkeepers would be smarter than they were when the Eagles won a Super Bowl, and they would purge inventory and just not have anything there.
Put a sign. I got nothing left. Just don't hurt anybody. Let's keep it civil.
Yeah. It doesn't stay civil. That's
too bad.
It doesn't.
If you're gonna burn a car, burn your own car, right?
Yeah. If you're gonna break stuff, break your ex's stuff.
Break your own stuff. Yeah, do that.
Go take it out on your ex if you want to break.
Just kidding.
It is. That's a joke.
The fun police listening.
Here we go again. I'm canceled again.
All right, we're gonna let you go.
Thanks
for jumping on. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. New York Hall of Fame, New York State Baseball Hall of Fame dinner.
It'll be fun. It was try to teach Louis Tiant how to speak English.
Yeah, hopefully maybe have a Shirley Temple or two.
He's only been in the country for 60 years. Maybe we can teach him some English. So it's.
Is he bringing the cigars? I hope.
I hope so.
Awesome. All right, my man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Be good.
As always.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, Mr. Nelson, ball9.com. Thanks for hopping in there, buddy. An old friend of mine, best man at my wedding, way back when. All right, look, we're going to go to my world. And, it's got to bring this up. If you follow the show, you know I can't stand Tom Brady. He's a labeled fumbler forever from that crappy tuck rule. Give the guy a break. He's having an awful season. I'm enjoying that. I don't mind the Bucks being 3-5. I like seeing them struggle. The news broke today, and he acknowledged that he and Giselle are divorced officially. And you know what? Give the guy a break. That's his business. I addressed it on the show a week or two ago. I'm throwing it out there again, man. Give him some space. Athletes. I say I hate Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady, the quarterback, because Tom Brady's the second best quarterback ever. Not personal stuff, but when it comes to personal stuff, just everybody back off, okay? Let's get to the good stuff now. The Raiders, 2-4 and on our way. This could be a trap game this week in New Orleans. Could be. NFC opponent, you don't see him much. I think if this game was 2 or 3 weeks from now, I'd be a little more worried about it, but here's why I feel good. Number one, Josh Jacobs, he's been eaten the last couple of weeks. What a season he's having. Keep it going, because if he's able to pound for 100 yards, he's gone over 140 for 3 straight games. That just makes the passing game even better. And the one thing that you got to remember with the Raiders is we haven't really gotten the passing game going yet. He's going to play this week, which is good. Renfro got that concussion in week 2. He hasn't been Renfro, and there's going to be a regression once you add Devontae Adams, but I haven't really seen the Waller Renfro Adams triplet thing yet. Hopefully this will be the week. Then kind of air it out, get Waller down the middle for some long gains. Renfro doing his thing, and Devontae Adams is a beast. The 2 other reasons why I like it is this. This will probably come back to haunt me, but Dennis Allen, former Raider coach, they're going to start Andy Dalton? Really? Okay. Yeah, I know Jameis Winston fan. I think he's a bust. I think he was a terrible first pick of the draft that year when him and Mariota came out. But yeah, I'll take my chances with the Red Rifle. Thank you. And the other thing with looking at the stats, the Saints are 2-5. Their defense is ranked 32nd in the league. So much like the matchup at home with Houston last week, what you want to see with the Raiders is come out and take care of your business. Is this group a playoff team? I think so, because I think the next 6 games are all more than winnable. Probably going to be favored in all of them. Come out, handle your business. Houston was a pain in the ass for 3 quarters the other day. That's going to happen in the NFL. I was a little anxious through 3, but they got it done in the 4th quarter. So here you go again. Now you got to build on that momentum. Go down to New Orleans, the Big Easy, and just take care of your stuff. Run your offense, play defense, win this game. This is a must-win game. The Saints are not offering anything. Let's have at it. Now, hopefully I wake up Sunday morning in a really good mood. Big Red. We're hosting Illinois 3:30 Eastern Saturday. Thank you to my boys Soccer League for scheduling us for the 10:30 game so I can watch it. It's been a big week. Malachi Coleman, desired wide receiver commit from Nebraska, commits to the Huskers, cites Mickey Joseph as a big part of that. We win this game and win another one. I'm really, I think Mickey's a former quarterback for the team, the 80s and 90s. He's a great recruiter. The players are playing hard for him. One thing you read about him, he is hell-bent on bringing back some physicality to this group. And I think this team's been soft for years. Not just under Scott Frost, I think under Mike Riley, too. It was soft. You got to bring the nasty back, because you can't win in football if you don't have a little bite to you. So let's see. This is a big challenge for the Huskers. We're coming off a bye week. Illinois, Brett Bielema, he was great at Wisconsin, anonymous at Arkansas. He's just got a thing for the Big Ten. He's always been a thorn in our side. I'd like to send him back to Champaign with a big fat L on his head. The questions come up with some Husker fans around Twitter that if we can win this game, do you storm the field? And part of me is like, no, we're in Nebraska. We don't storm the field. You know what, though? They stormed the field in Tennessee, and they had one heck of a party a couple weeks ago on Rocky Top, and they beat Alabama. And you know what? If the goalposts end up in some cornfield somewhere just outside of Lincoln, who cares? Again, be safe. Don't climb up there if they fall down. Get off. Don't get crushed by a goalpost. No injuries. No, just like I tell my kids, no injuries. But yeah, if they take down the goalpost, that's okay. All right. It's not a big deal. We need a big win. To the ice. The Bruins may not lose again. Yeah, is it possible? 81-1? 16-0 in the playoffs? Why not? Brad Marchand is back last night. Got a helper early, then a couple power play goals. Bruins power play is killer. They're lethal. And now they're trying the top six with Bergie and Marchand and the quitter, Jake DeBrusk. If we could get somebody else in his spot, I'd feel a lot better. But Hall, Krejci, and Pasternak has just been lethal. Hampus Lindholm has been better than I thought he would be this year after picking him up at the trade deadline last year. And we're rolling. You know, the one blemish was a 7-5 loss to Ottawa, and the Bruins just don't usually give up 7 goals. That was an aberration. Poor Jeremy Swayman got lit up that night, but he was good last night. So we'll tuck that one away, not a big deal. But the Bees, keep it going. Limit the minutes. Watch your minutes. This is an older group with Bergeron and Krejci and whatnot. You don't want to extend everything you have in October and November. But, man, let the good times roll. So far, so good for Boston. And with that, folks, hey, another week is come and gone. Let's enjoy the World Series. As much as I hate the Astros, it might not be a bad idea that they're in there just because they are despised so much. It might actually help ratings. I'd love to see Philly win, though. I would love to see Philly win. Let's go Phillies. Let's get some positive juju going for the fighting Phillies. Hopefully they can get it done. Bryce Harper, come on down. Cement that Hall of Fame status with a big series here. So on that note, everyone have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye now.